All right, guys, so we're going to be looking at solving multi-step equations, okay? So I'm going to work through the odds and you're going to be doing the evens, okay? Feel free to refer back to this video because I did most of this in class. So feel free to refer back to this video if you just want a redo of what I did. Maybe you didn't get it or so, okay? So number one, I have like terms on this right side. So we're going to go ahead and start off by putting them together. Okay. We're going to get 10x when we combine negative 4x and minus 6x. Okay. Then I'm going to bring down negative 20. Then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 10. And I'm going to have x equals positive 2. Okay. All right, now my next problem. Remember, this is a problem that has variables on both sides. So you may want to add 2 first. You may want to add 9 first. Or you may want to subtract 7x, okay? It depends on how you see this problem. It's no one correct way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 7x because I want to keep my variables on the left side because it's a little bit easier, okay? So this is going to cancel out because that gives me 0, and I'm left with 1x minus 2 equals negative 9. Okay? So from here, I'm going to add 2 to both sides, and I'm going to have x equals negative 7. All right? Moving on. So notice on this problem, I have 4n on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to move this 4n over here, okay, so I can have it on the right. Notice when I do this problem, both of them cancel out, okay? So here I'm going to have 0, but I still have my negative 4, so I'm going to bring that down on the left side. And here, this cancels out as well, but I have nothing else to bring down, so I'm going to actually write in 0. Then I just ask myself, is negative 4 equal to 0? And that is false. And anytime you get a false statement, that's going to mean no solution. All right. Number 7. Okay. So I'm going to start off by subtracting 8p. Remember, you can do something different and it should work out the same as long as you're doing inverse operations and doing the same thing to both sides, okay? So I have minus 8p. I'm going to get negative 3p minus 14 equals 4. Then I'm going to add 14 to both sides. Then I will have negative 3p equals 18. Then I'm going to divide by negative 3. And I'm going to get p equals negative 6. All right. So moving on to number 9. So with number 9, you notice that you have this negative sign that's on the outside of your parentheses. So let's say I had 2 times x plus 4. Okay. I would distribute that and I would get 2x plus 8. However, I just have a negative here, so I can add in an imaginary 1. Okay, now everybody may not need that. You do know everything on the inside will become the opposite, so feel free to just go ahead and write negative x minus 4 if you see it that way. However, it may be easier to add in the imaginary 1, so that way I can see that I'm multiplying negative 1 times x and I get negative x. Then I'm going to do negative 1 times 4 and I get negative 4. Then I'm going to bring down my left side. Then from here, I'm going to add 4. Then I'm going to bring down negative 1x. And then I get negative 4 on my left side. Then my last step is to divide by negative 1. And I'm going to have x equals positive 4. Okay, from here, I have positive 1. Okay, I'm sorry, I have negative 1, so I'm going to add in a 1. Then I have negative p plus 8 Then I'm going to have 14. So as you see, this works just like number 9. Okay, so I have -8, or I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. Then I'm going to get, that's going to cancel out, so I'm going to be left with -p, or -1p. Again, if you feel comfortable writing that 1, or let's go ahead and write it. Okay, go ahead and do that if you need to. So I have -1p, and then I have 6. So then from here, I divide both sides by -1, and I have p equals -6. All right. I'm going to go ahead and erase this part. So feel free to pause the video, or if you feel like you still need to write stuff down. I'm not intending for you to go at the speed that I'm going at. Remember, these are self-paced. So feel free to pause, rewind, or whatever you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to distribute 6 into both terms. I have 6 times 1, that gives me 6. And then I have 6 times 3k, that gives me 18k. Then I'm going to have -18 minus 6k on my left side. So then, let's see, what can I do here? I'm going to add 18. That might be better. Okay, so if I add 18, I have -6k equals 24 plus 18k. Then I'm going to subtract 18k. Okay, leaving me with -24k equals 24. Then my last step, I'm going to divide by -24. Okay, this will cancel out, and I'll be left with k equals -1. All right. Now this next one, it looks kind of hard, but it's actually not that bad, okay? You can just break this up to make it look like it's 2 separate problems. So again, if you need to add in that imaginary 1, go ahead. And it's going to become the opposite. So I'm going to have -1 minus 7x. Then here, with this being -6 or -6, I'm going to consider that to be -6. So that means I have to distribute that negative along with that 6 into the inside. So I'm going to have +42. And then I'm going to have -6 times -x. That's going to give me +6x. Okay, then I bring down that equals 36. Then I have some like terms. So those two go together. So I'm going to be left with -1x, or -x. Then I have 42 and -1. That's going to give me +41. And then I'm going to bring down the 36. Okay, then from here, I'm going to subtract 41. And then I have -1x equals -5. Then I'm going to divide by -1. And my final answer will be x equals +5. All right, last example. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase this. All right, so my first step, I'm going to multiply -4 into both of those terms. So I'm going to have -4 plus 24a. Then I'm going to have 24a minus 22 on my left side. Okay, so look what happens here. If I wanted to move this 24a to this other side, I'm going to have to subtract it, but I also have 24a over here, so they're both going to cancel out, leaving me with -22 on the left and -4 on the right. So then from here, is it true or false? Is -22 equal to -4? That's false, and that means we have no solution. Okay? So please make sure that you understood every problem on this video. If you need to go back and slow things down, feel free to go ahead and knock out those evens and let me know in tutorials if you still have questions.